Okay. Workshop commission meeting, 6 o'clock PM, Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. I'm going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm also going to ask that you stay standing for a minute to have a moment of silence for one of our employees that passed away this week. Yeah, it's behind us now. Okay. It moves around a bunch. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we're just going to have a moment of silence for our employee that passed away. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Here.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Here.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Here.
Vice Mayor Morset?
Here.
Mayor Mohammed?
Here.
We have quorum.
Okay. Are there any deletions or withdrawals to the agenda?
Mayor, if I could, item number 9.1, it's just a duplicate, so if we could just remove that from the agenda.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay. That was the only scrivener's error, right? Was there another one we had to fix or no?
I believe
Are
that
you-
was the only one.
Oh, 14.3, we just needed to fix the wording.
Which one?
14.3, we needed to fix the wording for the solid waste working committee group thing.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right, if there's nothing else. All right. Okay. With that, we are going to go on, well, actually, do I need to remove 5.1 to next week?
Yes.
All right. So then I'm going to ask to remove 5.1. I'd like to have that moved to next week. He will be here next week to speak before the commission.
Yeah, but we don't have a special meeting there, no?
What, the 13th? We have a regular meeting.
It's September 13th.
September 3rd, next meeting, not next week. Gotcha. Sorry.
Okay. So, okay. With that, we are removing 9.1 and we are pushing 5.1 to September 13th. Okay. Then we are going to go on to number 6.1, fire safety.
Wait, the light's not on.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Battalion Chief Michael Kane, Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue. I'm here tonight to give you the statistics for both the month of June and July. In the month of June, in the town of Pembroke Park, we responded to 199 emergencies. The breakdown is as follows. Vehicle accidents were 42, structure fires were 12, fire alarms were 9, medical incidents were 125, and service calls were 11. In the month of July, we had a total of 177 calls. The breakdown is as follows. Vehicle accidents were 34, structure fires were 7, fire alarms were 7, medical calls were 120, and service calls were 9. And that concludes their statistics for the town of Pembroke Park for both months, June and July. Do you have any questions you'd like me to answer?
Yeah, I'm a newbie. What's a service call?
So a service call would be like a lift assist. Somebody calls because they slipped out of bed. It doesn't fall under a medical category. They're not injured. A cat in a tree would be a service call.
Okay.
Tree falls on a house, and we cut the tree to, assist the person get. We just had a call like that, actually.
Okay.
tree fell on a house. Person was unable to get in the front door because of the tree, so we went ahead and just cut the tree. We didn't remove the tree, we just cut it enough so they could gain access to their home, and then they would have to contact a professional company to come and remove the tree. But those are service calls typically.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you,
Nope,
Mayor.
thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to number 7, Building Department, July report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, through the interim city manager, I'm your interim official. So through July, we have done a hair under $1.6 million in revenues. Our August numbers are over $200,000 already, so we're 1.8 million plus in revenues. As for the major projects in the city, the 2 Seneca buildings are coming close to completion for the shells, and they've already applied for their build-out permits. Coca-Cola, we've been working on a problem that has been there for many years, and we're coming to fruition on it. Wawa is, as you can see, is well underway and will be completed shortly. The storage building to the east of Wawa is just starting. O'Reilly's is underway, and the car wash is coming close to completion. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you. 7.2, revision to Broward County Enhanced Local Mitigation Strategy.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Jeffrey Lewis, Emergency Management Manager for Pembroke Park. Doing a revision to the local mitigation strategy. Broward County has come out with the latest 2022 local mitigation strategy. The last time it was updated was 2012, and we just need approval for funding for mitigation and disaster recovery. Set by resolution.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
What's the latest on,
Microphone.
sorry. What's the latest on the park on the corner? Where the trailer park down in the corner?
Trailer park on the corner.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The one that wants to fill in the lake. What's the latest
Trinity.
going on there? Oh, yes, Trinity. I'm sorry.
Trinity.
Yeah.
They are in the process of pulling permits. It's under plan review at this current time. Once we have the comments back, we'll send them over to the developers, but currently, it's still under review.
Come on, Steve.
With that, some of the comments that we've asked is we have asked for a flood study to show the drainage that will happen if they fill in the lake. So that comment was just generated recently, so we haven't received that comment.
I was under the understanding that they're actually not filling the lake. They're actually just pushing the water back, right? To say the amount of water that's there, they're going to push it back and put a berm around it? Is that the?
No, the plans I looked at show filling,
Yeah,
I don't remember the exact acreage, but a considerable number of the acreage of the lake was to be filled.
45 acres.
Right. No, I understand that, but I'm saying that they're actually not removing the water, or pumping it out. They're actually just pushing it back.
And that's our question, where are they pumping it to? And later on, when it rains, where is the additional drainage gonna go?
Right, where does
So they need to give us a study to show the drainage, where that drainage is gonna go, before we'll approve the permit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, there are 2 things that have been applied for, which one is an amendment, a land use amendment, which is a separate item. And the second application that the building department got was for a lake fill permit. They are 2 separate entities. The land use amendment was it went through Broward County, and they also submitted to our planning department for that land use amendment in order to provide or to build those structures that they plan. 248, I believe, is on the application. The second application the building department got was for an actual permit to fill in 14.1 acres of the lake approximately, and that is presently being reviewed by the building department.
And a couple of the conditions were on the applications and the permits from Broward County, the acreage was different. So we've requested
An amendment.
on that. But also we were concerned about, the Broward County has approved it already, but without necessarily telling us where the additional drainage is going to go. So we do have a problem with that. They do have to give us a flood study before we'll approve it.
Great.
They also zoned as mobile home park. That needs to be addressed. It's not zoned correctly.
Okay, that, for the zoning purposes, that will be handled by the zoning department?
Okay, and I also just want to, yeah. I also had a conversation with a fellow commissioner in Hollywood regarding this, and they would like to be kept in the loop on everything that's going on because of the way the flowage runs through Orange Blossom into Hollywood.
Yes,
And they don't want any more taxation on their system.
we can reach out to Hollywood, that's not a problem.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. And the resolution is ready for next week for the local mitigation, or no? I mean, well, when I say next week, you know what I mean, the 13th. You'll have it for next week? Well, for the 13th.
Thank you.
I have to be very clear. Okay. 8.1 Code Compliance Report.
Chief Code Compliance Officer Jocelyn Mers for the Town of Pembroke Park. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Town Commission. I'm here to report the months of May, June, and July. In total, we had 12 order of abatements of the fines, 89 affidavit of compliance, 58 affidavit of non-compliance, 3 amended final orders, 4 notice of violations as courtesies, 16 final orders, 72 notice of formal hearing, 36 notice of violation, and 9 supplemental order claims of liens. The highlights for the month was the month of May. We had a substantial amount of affidavit of compliance. For the special magistrate, you can see we executed the May 17 hearing, June 21 hearing, and I have included the adopted minutes that are attached to the agenda. And our July meeting was canceled due to renovations. We did proceed with the August 16 meeting, and I will be providing the minutes next workshop. And our meeting, our next meeting is scheduled for September 20. I have included pictures before and after of business owners and residents that have complied. Unfortunately, we don't have TV or screen right now, so I will let you guys review those on your own. And if you have any questions for me, I'm ready for them.
Nope.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you
you.
very much.
Okay, human resource issues, 9.2. We put out a RFP for the city attorney's position. The RFP closed last week or the week before, I'm not sure the exact day, but everyone has a copy of that. I'm asking for you guys to review, the commissioners, because you're looking at me like I'm asking you to review it. No. The commissioners, I'm asking the commissioners to review the bids and to work with, I guess, Susie to schedule individual interviews with each of the law firms next week so that we can award the bid at the 13th meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would like to add if it would be nice if the commission would also just consider the situation the town is in and possibly maybe push this down the road a little bit so that we can have a little stability. We have Gorham and crew on board, and they seem to be doing a great job. And I was looking at the pricing, and the pricing is actually a little less than what we've been offered by some of the other submittals. So that's my suggestion, that we consider that option.
Okay.
Are you thinking a couple of months?
I was thinking 90 days, yes.
Yeah. Well, I can agree to that.
Okay.
Anybody else have a comment on that?
Well, I think it's probably going to take a while even to get the contract underway once we do award the bid. So I think that we still need to start the process because we might need to see if we have any wiggle room to negotiate as well. So I'm flexible on that aspect of that. But I do know that we need to move forward in getting stability in here and getting everything situated. So next in 2 weeks, I hope that you will have the opportunity to have reviewed them and also to allow them to come in to do a presentation. Yeah. Commissioner?
Government work does not move fast, especially here in Pembroke Park. Any delay on this will cost months in the long run. So I think we need to keep proceeding forward and not keep kicking the can down the road.
Okay. Okay, so in the meantime, I would like for you guys to start scheduling, because I know you guys have a lot of applications to go through and a lot of interviews to do over the next 2 weeks. Because I think I'm the only one who's started interviewing the town managers from ICMA. Has anyone else reviewed that as well, or no?
No, it's real.
The city managers?
Oh, I read their resumes.
Okay, well,
Can we make a short list, because it's like too big, so it's like at least 3 or 5, so and we can make a schedule for each one.
okay. We'll get you to work with Babette on that. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at both the town manager's position, and we're looking at the chief of police, and there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of resumes and a incredible amount of information in those resumes that need to be respected and studied.
And I think you guys should.
HR, too.
Yeah, I think we have the HR resumes as well to go through. I know I received an email for that this week.
I haven't seen those yet
Oh,
for the
okay.
human resource.
Okay, they're out.
They're out?
They're out.
Okay, I'll have them tomorrow.
Okay, sure. Susie, could you get everyone a packet? Do you guys want a physical packet, or do you guys want a?
I prefer a physical.
Okay, so
I
can
am
you?
Zoom meeting.
Okay, so can you put a packet together for all the commissioners, and get to them for all the different things, tab it up for them and everything else. Thank you. Okay. You're up now. Staffing for Police Department, Clerk Commissioner Hotchkins.
Nine 9.1?
Okay, so everybody's going to have a packet. They're going to review it. They're going to schedule with Susie, and then we're going to have them come do a presentation at the next meeting. Okay. Okay.
I'll be here tomorrow.
That's a good question. Do you guys want to pick it up, or do you want it delivered? How do you guys want the packet? Okay, so for Commissioner Jacobs, his will be digital. You want hard copy?
Yes, hard copy, please.
Hard copy.
Hard copy or digital?
Digital.
Okay, so 2 digital, 2 hard copies. Thank you. Okay. And then we are now going on to you, staffing of the Police Department, Clerk Commissioner Hotchkins.
Yeah, I was trying to get a little stability in the police department also.
Okay.
And I was hoping that, that we would all agree on the point that Chief Dabney has been doing a great job with what she has, and we have new people on board. And, I would like to see her actually as the chief. And
I agree with that.
I would like to see that go forwards if everybody's in agreement.
Using your own words, Commissioner, that doesn't follow the systematic democratic process. And we've gone out for bid for police chiefs.
Yeah, I know that.
Follow through and interview with what we've done.
I've already looked at the,
Okay.
has everybody reviewed them?
Yep.
Have you reviewed?
Yeah. But I think she is so more qualified for anything.
I said using the clerk or commissioner's words, this does not follow the systematic democratic process as he's used time and time again. We've gone out to out for police chiefs. We have resumes pending. We need to follow through with interviewing all police chiefs and applicable candidates for the position.
I saw all those applicants, and I wasn't satisfied with any of them, to tell you the truth. So, you know. Yes, it is my opinion. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So we do have the ability to make the interim the permanent. We could also do the interviews as she is an applicant and award the chief's position at the next meeting.
Yes.
So if there's a,
I find that Chief Donovan is the one with the best education background and have shown great leadership in this crisis. So,
Okay.
yeah, let's go.
okay. Is there any objections, and is there any legal objections to that, attorney? Okay, to either option? Okay, perfect. All right. We thank you. You are doing a wonderful job and we appreciate it. And I think you have, no, wait. I am going to need you for 9.5. Do you want to make a statement or are you good? Tell me. Yeah. Make a statement as to what you guys are talking about now? You don't have to. Okay. I'm not going to put you in a hot seat. Okay. That's part of my presentation, so I'll make this. Okay. Do you want to make it for 9.3, 9.5, or 10.1, or 10.2? Tell me where do you want to make your statement at? 10.1. Okay. All right. So with 9.3, we will have that on the agenda for the next meeting for the hire. Line item, I think. And that's for the hiring of the police chief. Okay. 9.4, just, you could stay up there because it's going to be really quick. 9.4, interim town manager. Everyone has, or will have a copy again tomorrow of the interim town managers. There were 10 applicants. If you could pick your top 3 and let Susie schedule them. Sorry, Susie, I'm kind of putting you on a hot seat for scheduling, to schedule. And that way we can move forward with getting an interim town manager in here for the next meeting. Starting which day, what? Well, I've already done 2 interviews. I did mine last week. So, yeah, the emails have been sent out. And then Babette left a copy of the resumes on the dais last week as well. But I know they were still here during the back to school giveaway. So, so if we could get those interviews scheduled at you guys' earliest convenience, so we can move this forward. Yeah, I know we got a lot of hiring going on. Okay, so 9.5, consultant for police department. I know me and you've had this conversation. Do you want to break it in, or you want me to break it in, or you tell me? It doesn't matter. Being a seasoned officer coming from, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, Honorable Commission, town staff, and our community guests and stakeholders. My name is Rashana Dabney Donovan. I am the interim chief of police for your Pembroke Park Police Department. Being a seasoned officer coming from a larger agency, I understand the importance of accreditation and the importance of Florida standards. We as an agency, we must comply. That is not a question, that is not up for debate. We want to be held in high regard alongside other police agencies in this surrounding area. In order to do that, we need to ensure that our policies are up to date. We need to ensure that we are revamping our training division and that we have all the tools available in order to proceed and move forward in the right way. So I stand before you asking you for permission to obtain a consultant. I still am learning the numbers process, so if you all can help guide me about the spending cap or if I have to talk about that tonight. But the goal of the consultant will be to review and help efficiently and effectively write processes and standard operating procedures for our agency
and right now to concentrate on building the training department.
Okay. So, does anyone have any questions? Nope.
Nope.
Okay,
Way to go.
perfect. Okay, so then will you have the 3 bids for the 13th, or?
I will have the 3 bids for the,
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, 10.1. Pembroke Park Police Department 5-month statistical update.
Thank you again. My name is Rashana Dabney Donovan, your interim chief of police. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to stand before you today. Although there was a PowerPoint presentation presented regarding our numbers over the past 5 months, I would just like to take the time to share it as a narrative, since we don't have the facility to actually show the PowerPoint presentation. First and foremost, I would like to personally thank each of the officers and personnel who are currently here, steadfast in their determination and hard work. It is in large part because of them and their dedication to this community that there is positive officer productivity. Since March, when this commission was voted in, there has been a 26% reduction in crime. Through July, the police department has responded to 387 total calls for service. These calls include 241 total vehicle accidents, 56 total burglaries, 226 total alarm calls, 17 total vandalisms, 41 total arrests, 861 total traffic stops, and 15 stolen vehicles, all of which were recovered. Between June and July, however, we have had 3 full-time officers and 1 part-time officer separate from service of their own accord on very short notice. With these departures, it has left us with 11 sworn full-time officers and 1 who recently took a leave of absence for personal reasons. And we also have 1 civilian employee. Through the less staffing, we are working diligently to turn this around through extended recruitment efforts. Currently, we have 1 CSA who began yesterday. We have 1 CSA who begins this coming Monday. We have 3 candidates processing in backgrounds, and tonight we just sent an additional conditional offer of letter of employment to a 4th potential candidate. I want you all to know I'm not here for a season, but for a reason. And part of that reason is to lead this agency with integrity in carrying out this mission. Our police will endeavor to provide exceptional customer service while upholding the highest level of safety to all persons, employing respect, a sense of community, trust, integrity, and unrestricted civility to every member of the greater public. Since being named co-chief, then interim chief, there has been a decrease in overall crime and the perception of crime. We have had an increase in officer participation at community events. We continue to create and solidify community partnerships. We continue to work on repairing and strengthening relationships with town staff. Communication with commission has increased and been consistent and transparent. Our recruitment has increased. Our hiring practices have been better, and there has been a substantial increase in morale. We continue to show that we add value to this community because this community means a lot to us. I want you to know that I bring stability to this organization and continue to work hard to earn the position as chief of police. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the chief?
No.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. You got
okay.
Sarah?
Oh, yes, Sarah.
Okay, and I'm butchering it, but, okay. Go ahead.
Good evening again. Rashana Dabney Donovan, interim chief of police. So at a previous workshop, we presented the SARA program, which is an app that was designed by a retired police officer to bring additional services to schools, parks, town halls during critical incidents. There was a presentation regarding the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas incident, as well as the Fort Lauderdale Airport incident. At that workshop, he was asked to provide a sole source document letter, which I have provided to you today. And I just wanted to request that we be able to move forward in acquiring this application.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? And
What's the cost?
So
about
he's
10
working on getting a grant for us for the first 3 years. But because they're still in the process, I'm unable to discuss further elements of that until it's been actually
Okay.
solidified.
Okay.
So you're just looking for direction to go and to look into it? Or?
Yes, we actually would like to obtain the application, the app for Sarah, yes.
Well,
okay. Okay. Any questions?
Yes, I have one question. This is not about Sarah. This is about our last special meeting. One of our colleagues said, because of our commissions, our police department is falling down. So I just want to know, can you explain me the 4 police officer, why they're resigning for?
So I'm sorry that you received that narrative. The 4 officers that resigned of their own accord.
Okay.
They were not pushed out. They were not asked to leave. They were not told to leave. They did it for their own accord. Because it was on such short notice, I don't have 100% reasoning why each and every one of them resigned, but there were some maybe shortfalls in the agency, shortfalls within the town. I recall one saying toxic town, behavior and stuff like that. So
September?
I don't feel that that was relative to the commission. I personally believe that it was because of the negative rhetoric that has been stated, time and time again, and others left for probably better jobs and opportunities. But again, it was their decision. It was not our decision, and we did not force or push anybody out.
Thank you for the public record. Thank you so much.
You should review the resignation letters. Then you know their opinion.
Okay, everyone did receive a copy of one of the resignation letters, if I'm not mistaken. Right, correct? Or was I the only one that received a copy? All right,
I
we'll
think,
look.
I think the conversation is okay. We are done. We
Yeah.
don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Okay. With that, we are going to move forward. We have a lot of issues to tackle, and you are doing a great job. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
thank you.
Aline, you're on the hot seat.
Thank you. Aleem Ghani, Acting Town Manager, Public Services Director. Item number 11.1, which is the roof replacement. This contract was actually approved at the last commission meeting. This is a grant that the town has to do the roof replacement. After having a site inspection with the contractor and staff, we actually, there were several things missing on the bid with the consultant, with the contractor walking the roof. Upon investigation, we had the lightning protection, which was not included in the bid. 2 of the Bilco hatches, which is on either side of the building, was not included as part of the termination of the roofing system. As it is right now, the roofing system terminates on the inside of the wall, the parapet wall of the building, rather than going up and over on the parapet wall. And the last item on the list was the lighting that the building has. The conduits are located at the top of the parapet wall. So in order to cover that properly, you have to remove the electrical and then after installation, replace it. So they actually submitted a higher cost in this. I renegotiated the cost. So this is why I'm bringing it back to the commission for approval. There are 2 things that can happen. The contract was already approved. We can actually allow the contractor to go ahead and do an amendment to the contract or bring it back as a change order. So I will defer to the attorney how the best way we can handle it.
Again, thank you, Mr. Gandhi. You know, either option is legally sufficient. All things being considered, I would suggest, because we just approved this contract we just approved the award at the last commission meeting.
Right.
I would suggest an amendment to the contract would be appropriate. With the commission's direction, we would work with Mr. Gandhi and his team to bring back that amendment on your September 3rd.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, and then I wanted to ask, was on the other bids, because I know it was more than one bid for the roof, was this included in the scope of service, or was it
No, these items were not included
in the scope of service for any of them?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks. Okay, so then that will be on the agenda for the 13th.
Correct. Keep in mind, this is part of the HMGP grant that I'm trying to get
Yeah.
closed out as well. The town was awarded $90,000 for this roof. The remainder of the funds will actually have to come from our ad valorem, so just keep that in mind in terms of the budget. The next item on the agenda is the MPOC slip. The Metropolitan Planning Organization has actually granted the town a grant in the amount of $2,311,000 for construction, procurement of professional engineering design services, $398,155, and also CE&I, which is construction engineering and inspection services for 2 locations in the city. These 2 locations are South Park Road, which is drainage improvements for the loss of swale areas along that roadway, resurfacing and adjustment of the roadway grades, construction of missing sections of sidewalks and connectivity of sidewalks. The next location would be Southwest 52nd Avenue, construction of missing sections of sidewalk connecting Lake Forest and Watkins Elementary Schools, constructing any areas of missing sidewalks and ADA compliance, which is the disability standards for the town. So this grant is before you because why I'm here is that it's a DOT grant. It's through DOT. It's a federal grant through DOT that the town received. All our procurement measures right now, our CCNA does not meet the federal requirements. I will actually have to go out through DOT or through the assistance of the Florida Department of Transportation to actually negotiate a contract to put it out for bidding, since it's a federal contract. So that's why this item is here before you, to get permission to start putting together the bids, or putting together the scope of work, and work together with DOT to put this out for bidding. In the meantime, in order for us to go out for that, we have something called a local participation agreement, which is a LAP agreement. We'll be working concurrently with staff and DOT to get the town LAP certified. In order for the funds, the federal funds, to come into the town, we actually have to get LAP certification, meaning myself and other members of the department will have to be certified, so the funds will be funneled through us, so we could do the disbursement of these funding. That's why this item is before you today.
Okay. So you need both the,
Consent.
both the scope of service to be prepared on
Yes.
consent, and also the LAP certification.
Correct, concurrently, yes.
Okay. You'll have that ready next.
No, actually, it's going to be a few months. It's going to be at least 2 to 3 month process.
This item, I believe, is your manager, interim manager, is looking for direction and consensus from the commission to move forward with the item. This would require some significant coordination with DOT.
Correct.
And also preparation of procurement documents, particularly given the CCNA component when we go out to procure engineering and certain professional services.
Okay. And then is there a cost associated for the LAP certification?
No, we are trying to do that in-house right
Oh,
now.
okay.
And any additional costs, we'll try to get assistance from consultants, local consultants on our list that can assist.
Okay. All right. So then I think, does anyone have any objections to them doing either? Then I think you have the
No
direction.
objections.
Yeah, and this would not need to be on the next agenda. This would be
Okay.
direction to your staff.
Yep,
Yes.
you have
right.
direction to move forward.
Thank you.
Okay. 11.3.
11.3, again, is information. We had the large user agreement meeting last week with the town of Hollywood. And one of the things that actually came up is that annually, there's a true-up rate.
I don't need to know. You gave permission to move forward from 2 to 3. Is that correct?
they have permission to move forward on 11.2, which is to prepare the scope of work for the CSLIP grant application, and they also have direction to move forward to get in-house certification for LAP.
Thank you.
Okay.
This was hard to hear back there.
Oh, no worries. Okay.
Excuse me for interrupting.
We apologize for the audio system here.
Okay.
The third item, which is 11.3 for Public Works, it's actually just to bring forward the rate increase or the projected true-up that is presently published by the City of Hollywood. The town of Pembroke Park is a large user, which one of the large users on the Hollywood system. Presently, we have last year, we paid $3.01 per 1,000 gallons for treatment of the sewer charges. The present rate that the town is paying is $3.20. The true-up is a number or estimated flow. When I say estimated, there's no specific number or rate that is assigned to the contract. It's only at the end of the contract what is used, and based on the consumption and the volume that is pumped to the town, an assessment is made. So this number here, as you could see in your presentation, is a presentation that was done by an independent consultant that the City of Hollywood has hired, and our true-up rate for this year, this fiscal year, is $3.20 per 1,000 gallons. And that's what I brought it forward so you could see the impact of the budget as well. And one of the things to mention is that there's also a credit of $185,000 as part of the presentation. That negative number that you see in the presentation is the true-up number, which is $186,289, which is approximately 2 months of wastewater flows for the town of Pembroke Park. So we're actually getting a credit for 2 months of wastewater flows based on the true-up numbers that we have presently.
Town attorney, isn't there an issue right now in the courts with?
Yeah, if I may, Mayor and Commission, just one quick comment to add to Mr. Ghani's presentation regarding the large user agreement. This is a relationship that the City of Hollywood administers, I believe, 5 or 6 other municipalities in Broward County. Dania, Miramar used to be a party, they've since left, Pembroke Pines, Hollandale, the county, and others. The City of Pembroke Pines has been engaged for the past 6 or 7 years in some very significant litigation against the City of Hollywood. There were 3 specific cases that were filed by Pembroke Pines. They were consolidated into one trial heard in Broward County Circuit Court late last year by Judge Frink. One of them had to do with the enforcement of a settlement agreement between both cities that goes back about 20 years. That issue's been resolved. The more pressing issue as it relates to Pembroke Park is Pembroke Pines had brought a breach of contract claim against the City of Hollywood. And that breach of contract had to do with how the City of Hollywood was applying what the large user agreement refers to as Exhibit D, which contains a certain methodology as to how the various large users are billed under the Hollywood system. It's a very technical and complex bit of litigation, but the outcome of that litigation was determined last week by Judge Frink. Last Thursday, the court entered an order finding in favor of the City of Pembroke Pines. It was not a final judgment, but what the court did was direct the city to go back and get with their counsel and their professional consultants to quantify certain damages based on a methodology that the court laid out in their findings to determine how much the City of Hollywood has been overcharging Pembroke Pines in the context of a misapplication of this particular exhibit. The preliminary numbers would show to the tune of somewhere between $4.5 million of overcharges that Hollywood has been charging the City of Pembroke Pines. Hollywood has been charging all of the large users under what has now been proven to be a flawed methodology. Once Pembroke Pines submits its damage findings to the court, and once the court ultimately enters a judgment based on those damages and those findings, we'd like the opportunity to come back before the commission and pursue a particular remedy that the town of Pembroke Park may also have against the City of Hollywood. Again, this misapplication has been going to all of the large users. So Pembroke Pines has sort of led the charge in challenging Hollywood in the context of a breach action, but there may be some implications for Pembroke Park and the other large users and the potential to recover at some point in the future.
And that could be
Interesting.
quite substantial.
Again, I'm not as familiar with Pembroke Park's numbers,
Yeah.
but certainly the methodology and the misapplication should be the same as it's applied to all the large users, and the numbers should be sizable.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And both of you will keep a,
Sure.
We will, Mayor, yes, thank you.
Yes.
okay, perfect, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is actually an item that actually went before the city present town manager, actually requesting approval for the town to maintain the lighting system along Harlandale Beach Boulevard. Presently, the town, Florida Department of Transportation has a designer, which is Lochner and Associates, doing redesign of the lighting system from 441 all the way down to Southwest 44th. It's part of your presentation, to Southwest 44th Avenue. All the lights, or all the present lights are going to be retrofitted with an LED, with a new LED lighting head or lighting system. The poles are going to remain, but the LED fixture is what is going to be replaced. That is presently being designed by FDOT. They sent an email requesting that the town look into update our maintenance agreement. They want actually the town to commit to continued maintenance of the system, of the lighting system along Harlandale Beach Boulevard. That's why this item is before you today.
And do they reimburse us for that service?
We do get a reimbursement. It's last year we got $24,000. We just got the bill for this year, the reimbursement for this fiscal period. It's $25,575. The present contract with FDOT on maintenance that that the town gets reimbursed is actually increasing 3% annually. And I have copies of it in your package. If not, I could share that with the commission.
Okay, what's the current cost of maintenance now, and are we getting our full?
We did, I looked into the numbers for the last 2 years. We spent anywhere from about $2,000 to like about $12,000 for the past 2 years. In 2021, there was a pole actually that was knocked down. I have pictures and the incident reports on it. That actually cost us like $6,200 to do a complete replacement. So we are well within the numbers of the contract, our maintenance agreement we have with DOT.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Any additional questions? I'm free
Are
to.
we locally storing parts for these things, or are we sourcing them in when there's a
No,
problem?
we actually have a contract with Russell Electric, who is an FDOT approved contractor to do maintenance work on it.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed the lights. And
They changed the bulbs and that's correct. And anytime, we had one that the chief recently sent emails on where the lights was out. I actually contacted DOT and Russell Electric to go back out there and get it running.
Okay. So that might be better then, since we always have issues
So-
with the lights being out on Hollandale.
The reason why it's before us is that they requested that when the design is completed, we will have to look at this agreement.
Okay.
And that's why it's before you today.
Okay, so is the contract ready to?
The design is presently being done. When it's completed and we get the final numbers, then it will be brought before the commission.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the update. Number 11.5?
The last one is actually a grant application that through our grant personnel, we were awarded a grant of for vulnerability assessment, I believe. And it's just a signature for this grant application to move forward and send back to FDEP. That's why this item is on.
All right, do you need approval for that on the consent, or can I just sign it?
No, I would actually want direction from the commission on that. I'd put that on the
Consent.
agenda, either on consent or as a line item.
Correct.
Okay. Susie, put that on consent.
Right.
Yeah, it should be on the agenda.
There's no
Yes.
deadline, that's not pressing, is it, deadline-wise?
No, the only thing there is that I believe we have to put it in by the end of September based on
Okay.
some of the numbers, some of the deadlines that I saw in the grant.
All right, perfect, thank you.
That's it for Public Works.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, 12.1 to 2023-08, medical marijuana, Commissioner Jacobs.
12.1 ordinance number 2023-008. These ordinances were supposed to be passed last year. We have 4 current permits for medical marijuana dispensaries. As soon as they started coming in at a rate that we couldn't keep up with them. This puts a stop to our town turning into a free-for-all for dispensaries, including manufacturing. So that was the whole intent of this ordinance.
And there are currently no moratoriums or setbacks for them in the current ordinance?
May I just very briefly, on this item, Mayor and Commission, my office was directed, gosh, I want to say it was maybe in February, by the former building official to prepare this item, which we drafted at the time and sent to the former official and your former town manager. Currently, well, strike that. At the time we were asked to prepare the item, there was 1 medical marijuana dispensary operating in the town, and there was 1 permit application that was pending. I don't know if additional applications have come in, but I am aware of those 2 that both have since come into the town. State law gives the town the option to do one of 2 things. You can either prohibit medical marijuana dispensaries within your jurisdiction, or you may allow them, but if they are allowed, they would be regulated much the same way we regulate pharmacies. That's a statutory requirement. This ordinance would prohibit future applications for medical marijuana dispensaries, but it would have no impact on the existing facilities that would be grandfathered and considered legal non-conforming in the event that the prohibition were to take effect.
Just for clarity, these are not like the little pot shops you see with selling CBD oils and all that type
No,
of stuff. Right? These are regular medical where you need a prescription and go in.
That's correct. And this only pertains to what the state refers to as medical marijuana dispensing facilities. This is specific to THC. I think what you're referring to, Commissioner or Clerk Commissioner, is the CBD products,
Right.
which are available at a much wider and broader range of retail outlets. But THC is very separately and strictly regulated by state law, and this would only apply to those operations.
So it's all legal activity.
Correct, generally, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the policy decision for the commission is whether the commission wants to continue to allow these operations in the town, or whether to prohibit them moving forward with the understanding that those that are currently operating will be permitted to continue to operate.
Okay.
And I am going to ask Chief, have you had an increase in calls? Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask Dave instead, because I know that Dave does do some work for that industry. If Dave doesn't mind being put on the spot. Yes, you.
I was hoping you would. I was hoping you would say this one.
I mean, I know in the past there's been no negative impact in the communities where they're operating, and because of the fact that you have to have a license from a medical doctor, basically stating that you're dying and that you have cancer. That's the only way you're able to get a medical marijuana license in the state of Florida. I know that they have not had a negative impact. As a matter of fact, in a lot of communities, they have had a positive impact because of the fact that they have their own security on site as well.
Yeah.
So,
And-
I mean, that would be like saying, hey, no, we're not going to take another Walgreens.
Yeah, and these operations, if I may, Mayor, they are subject to very stringent regulations under state law as it relates to security, how they operate, where they can operate. The statutes actually separately regulate the dispensing facilities, distinguishable from the growing facilities. There's a certain number of licenses that the state issues to various growing facilities. I don't know how many the number is.
17.
Once it was, I know
Originally it was
12.
5, now it's 17.
It's slowly and incrementally inched up over the past probably 3 or 4 years. This would not apply to the growing facilities. This would only relate to dispensing and those medical marijuana dispensaries that operate as retail outlets. But you're right, it would require a prescription from a physician in order to go in and even have access to those facilities.
Yeah, is this on?
Kind of, sort of, but not very good.
Yeah, I actually, the mayor's right. I was involved in when they adopted the medical marijuana law with a client. And the attorney is right. The areas, I think, that where there was concern about security, most concern about security, were the growing growing and processing part of the operation, and not the dispensaries, not the shops, basically. But everything the attorney said is, I completely agree with. I think with any kind of a retail store, and the chief, I think, would agree with me, is there is obviously a sort of generic risk to a liquor store or a grocery store or a drugstore that exists, and this would be no greater, I don't think, than any of those kinds of retail operations.
Yeah.
And maybe less so because the state regulations are very specific. It's the bill was pages and pages and pages, and like Jacob said, you have to have a prescription, and not just anybody can even walk in the door. You have to have a prescription, and in some places I know you have to make an appointment to go and get your allowed amount of medication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there
Are we
any other
moving this to consent, or?
It's an ordinance. Ordinances don't go on consent.
The whole situation is, just like liquor stores, I see these as tearing a community down and not building a community up. I believe we have 7 liquor stores here in the town of Pembroke Park in the under 2 square miles that we are. So there is, I don't know the current number, because I haven't been in the building department in a while. Jeffrey, do you know?
No, this isn't a liquor store we're referring to. If you want to do an ordinance regulating liquor stores, that would be completely
I'm
separate.
not
and
talking
apart
about
from-
liquor stores. I'm talking about how many permits for medical marijuana facilities.
Wasn't it 4? We were just. 2.
Again, as of March, there were 2. There was 1 operating, 1 pending. I do not know if additional permits have come in.
Okay. And then where are they allowed in the city? Because they're not allowed in residential, so
They would be regulated no different than we would regulate a pharmacy.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Are there any other questions?
No.
So that will be on regular agenda because it's an ordinance for a vote up or down. 12.2, 2023-009 Economic Development Advisory Board, Commissioner Jacobs.
Ordinance 2023-009 is put in place to have a economic development board to establish a advisory board to help redevelop our community and bring our town back.
Mm-hmm. And this would be separate and apart from the Planning and Zoning Board, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, when you talk about redeveloping, what are you specifically thinking of? Because we have a lot of mobile home parks I don't think these people would like to be redeveloped.
It has nothing to do with the mobile home parks. It has everything to do with the antique area that was rezoned as an entertainment district and the complete development of the area between the railroad tracks and I-95, Hollandale Beach Boulevard, and Pembroke Road.
That was rezoned to mixed commercial, right?
Nope, it was rezoned to entertainment district. This board is to help develop that area.
Okay.
And it is an advisory board. It's non-binding on the commission. Would you
Yeah,
like
if I
to?
may. And again, this was another one of those items that your former building official had asked us to prepare at the, I think at the direction of Commissioner Jacobs, who was the mayor at the time. This is a 5-member advisory board appointed by the participants on the board would either be residents or business owners in the town. They would ultimately take direction from the commission. Their charge would primarily be to make recommendations and provide advice to the commission on matters of local business, economic development, and ways to further those opportunities, both under the town code and under state law.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you can put that on the agenda for next week. 12.3, Chapter 4, Animals, Commissioner Jacobs.
And this ordinance, 2023-010, again, was from the previous year. This lets residents have up to 4 chickens at their residence. And this went back through COVID and food shortages, stuff like that. So that's where this one came about. And actually, if you go back into the United States back to 1918. The government actually recommended every family have 10 chickens at their home,
That's 120 years ago.
along with urban farms at their residence to help with possible food shortages and other things. But this is to actually regulate it because we have actually wild chickens all over the town in the mobile home parks.
Yeah, I actually get calls about roosters crowing and
Crowing, yeah.
4 in the morning.
yeah.
So this is to ban having poultry. Do I understand you correctly, Jacobs?
No, you don't. You'll need to read through the ordinance to understand what it's about. It talks about limiting each household to having 4 chickens and having to obtain a permit to keep fowl at their residence. Town Attorney, would you like to speak
Yeah,
more
sure.
to it?
And Commissioner Jacobs, you're absolutely correct. The ordinance does a couple things, Vice Mayor. It requires a permit for any residents within Pembroke Park to maintain chickens. It provides certain requirements for a chicken coop and the manner in which the coops are maintained. It addresses issues with regards to cleanup, waste, odor. It provides for inspections. There's an application process that any individual who wanted to keep chickens would ultimately have to go through. It requires, security to ensure that the fowl cannot get out. It only applies to chickens. It does not apply to ducks or geese or, turkeys or peacocks or other, similar fowl. But it establishes certain regulations to the extent that any residents within the town of Pembroke Park sought to keep chickens. This would provide a mechanism for them to do so. Incidentally, it does not provide for commercial use. So this is really only for personal use, for eggs and the like. Selling chicken, selling eggs, breeding is all prohibited under this ordinance.
What about the town's chickens?
I'm sorry?
What about the town's chickens?
The town's chickens?
Yeah.
The town's chickens are not contemplated by the ordinance specifically, but to the extent that it would apply, I think that it would.
Okay, I do want to point out that the resolution states that up to 4 chickens may be kept at a occupied single-family resident upon a permit, and that chickens are not allowed on duplexes, triplexes, townhomes, multifamily properties, community gardens, or any other use, is what it specifically says in the ordinance on page 8 out of 12. So I'm not sure, where the community garden fits into this. With that specific sentence. Do you see that?
We have
I
a
see this-
community farm.
I see the sentence you're referring to, and again, this was provided to your prior staff. It was reviewed by your staff. I don't know what the rationale behind that language is. If it's the will of the commission to strike it or amend it, we can certainly do that prior to first reading, but this is the language that was requested by your staff.
Okay. And then I know it said your statement was that this is for the mobile homes parks because there are chickens running all over the place. I do have a neighbor that does have 4 chicken coops on her property, which is a single-family home, and she has them there for religious reasons. So I know that would definitely cause an issue with this, as well as my other neighbor who also has several chickens in his backyard. So I think that there needs to be a difference between single-family houses where she's on an acre of land versus a tenth or a half of a lot. So I think that there needs to be some type of modifications in this for that reason. And then also I know that it's looking at keeping animals caged versus allowing them to run on the property, on private property. So I think that's something that we need to address as well, because if they're in the backyard of somebody's property, which is gated, there's a difference between them running around on the street. So I just want to put that out there because I really do need to be able to go in and out of my house without my neighbors trying to kill me. So.
I'd like to comment on this. I have a background in farm management, and I do not believe it's a very good idea to have fowl in the city. They can carry diseases as salmonella in one end, bird flu, and I would strongly advise against any kind of husbandry in city environment. That's my take on it.
Okay. Is there any other comments?
Nope.
Okay, so then you'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting. But I would like to add that there be some type of something for religious purposes, because I know the Supreme Court had already heard that issue, and we can't regulate when it pertains to
That is correct. Yeah.
religious freedoms and other things. And then I would assume that there's going to be a difference between a single-family house and a mobile home, because I don't see where mobile homes are actually addressed in this resolution.
We will make
I
that
mean, it's
distinction.
ordinance.
Are these sacrificial chickens?
They are. Dave, sir?
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is not on that subject. I left my thing up here.
No.
I'd like to put something on the record, too. I should have thought of it earlier. I do not currently represent any licensees. Will be a good thing to have on the record.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Okay.
Okay, then.
13.1, ban smoking in public places. So basically, this year, the legislature took up a bill to ban smoking in parks. We actually had a ordinance in place many moons ago. However, they, at one point in time after we had it in place, the legislature decided to ban cities from blocking smoking in parks. And so, we do have people who go to the park, and when their kids are on the playground equipment, they actually sit there smoking cigarettes and vaping and everything else. So this year, the legislature allows cities to now put that ban back in place at our city parks, and I would like to, if you guys agree, to ban smoking in our parks.
Definitely.
Okay. So you'll work on the
We
ordinance.
will
for-
bring, yeah, we will bring back an ordinance for the 13th.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, so number 13.2, discussion on the police department audit. Vice Mayor?
Yes, just to bury all rumors about the police department, I think it would be a good idea to perform an audit so that in the future, nobody can pin any wrongdoings or miscredits to your department.
Okay. Is it for the police, here's operational, or is it for the police department?
It's for the build out.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear that,
Yeah, just so
Because
we
it was
have completely clean lines here and understand exactly where all the money been spent.
okay,
It's nothing to do with upstairs.
Are
okay.
you requesting a financial audit?
Yeah.
Of the police department
For the build-out.
specifically, for the build out.
Didn't we request a full forensic financial audit of the entire town?
That would be a separate and apart audit. And yes, you did request that, and that is item 13.3, but for the police department build out, that would be a separate audit. So,
Okay. So you're asking to pay for a separate audit for the build out of the police department, just to get it specific?
correct.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, can you prepare an RFP or RFI or whatever you need to prepare for that?
If you'd like, Mayor, we certainly can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 13.3.
If I may, though, we will need some help from your staff with regards to the scope.
Oh, definitely, okay.
Just as an added note, as we all know, the audit has taken priority over our finance department for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully, any of these things you're going to be asking them to do that are going to take a long time and be really tie up the department, it would be nice if we can wait till after, at least till they get through with, get the audit stuff done and get it.
Absolutely.
That's just for them.
Yeah,
Oh, to advertise it?
Yeah,
Oh,
we will begin to work on the RFP. If we can get it to you by the 13th, we will do that. If not, it'll be the
All
following.
right, fine, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. 13.3, proposal for town audit, USDA. So you asked for the audit of the USDA rural development loan. JC has worked with a company to prepare.
Before we go any farther forward, I'd never asked for an audit of the USDA loan. I asked for an audit of the town's forensic audit of the town's finances for the last 20 years. It was not specific to this loan. It was specific to all financials within this town. You brought up, you wanted the building department specifically included in this. It was the public works, building, every single bit of it. It wasn't just about this loan.
Okay, well, this is what was presented to us this week was the
It's not what I
alter.
requested and what we requested from the dais.
Okay,
Going back 20 years, that's kind of excessive.
I agree with you on that one.
We'll
But-
put it on for voting
Okay, so do you want to put it on for voting for
on the 13th of September.
for what are we voting on?
For the 20 year.
For a
going
20-year
back,
forensic.
that's going to eat up a lot of resources, and I don't think we can document anything.
Yeah,
way
You know, we
before.
already voted to go forward to find someone to do the audit for 20 years for the forensic audit. JC did not get this correct when he went out. He made it specific about this loan. When I went back and reviewed the meeting, it was specific about the town's finances. And Mayor, you were even more specific. You wanted the building department audited. So
well, I want a building department audit. You want a forensic audit of the financial department. I
Yes.
want a specific building department audit for the fees for the building department, as well as how much revenue was generated in the building department, because I want to make sure that, A, we're in line with other cities when it's costing $1,200 for a permit for
Well,
a $4,000 shed or $500 for 4 pieces of sheetrock. So I want a specific building department audit, 2 things for my scope for my building department audit, which is the fees to make sure they're in line, and second, the revenue generated for the building department. Because I know that the building department is supposed to operate revenue neutral, and it doesn't appear that it's been operating revenue neutral.
well, this is not what I requested.
I know, okay, so then
This
we need
is-
to go back out, well, they need to go back out and
Go back
adjust the
out for
scope.
what we needed.
But I would also suggest, because based on just the USDA audit, that paperwork that we have, the cost is $125,000 to $490,000 just to review the USDA loan. So I think that the scope of the forensic audit that you're requesting needs to be defined better so that they can do it. And I also think that should be put out as a RFP instead of a company being picked because of the absorbent cost that it's going to cost. And it would be unfair to just kind of award a $500,000 audit to one company without shopping it around.
Well, I wasn't the one that went forward. It was the town manager who went forward with finding the company. I agree, we need to go out for bid for a company that does a 20-year audit to figure out where this town is financially, where it needs to be, and fix all the problems of the past that we had here so we can continue to go forward in the right direction.
How do you imagine
And I
fixing?
also agree.
Years ago.
The building department does as well need an audit, but that's part of it.
That's not part of a forensic.
You want a different one?
That's, yes, completely, like,
All right.
there are different audits, and so we need to be specific in what we're asking staff to review. So I don't know what we would find with the forensic audit because of the fact that for the past 20 years, we've received the GFOA award for good financing and for having our financial documents in place. When you're doing a forensic audit, it kind of needs to be specific on what they're looking for or what you're asking them to
Why don't you
investigate.
just bring it back for vote at the next meeting?
Okay,
Okay.
so put that on as line item. 13.4.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
And this is an item that your former town manager engaged me on some number of months ago. There is a little history here just for the commission's benefit. In 2008, the commission entered into a license agreement with a organization called the Shoreline Foundation, along with a gentleman whose name was Filippo Antonino. It had to do with the 2 individuals, well, the business and the individual operating within the boundaries of the town, and there was some platted property that they came to learn where both of the business and the individual were encroaching in the town's right-of-way. Back in 2008, the town approved a 99-year license agreement that would essentially allow this individual and this organization to remain in the rights of way, and the town would receive certain benefit pursuant to the terms of that agreement. Fast forward to earlier this year, your former manager received an inquiry from the Shoreline Foundation and a request to have the commission amend through a collateral assignment Shoreline's rights and interests to that license agreement. The business Shoreline is looking to secure a loan from a lender, from a bank, in the amount of $1.4 million, and they're asking to use their rights to the license agreement as collateral to help secure that loan. What we have done is we were provided with a copy of their assignment of the rights. We reviewed the document. We had some specific comments to protect the town's interests. The town has certain termination opportunities under the original license agreement, and we wanted to ensure that the town's ability to terminate this agreement, should it choose to do so, would not in any way be affected by the collateral assignment. The lender and Shoreline have agreed to our comments. If you'll look on section 11 of the actual assignment agreement, it specifically speaks to nothing in the assignment is intended to affect the town's rights under the license agreement, including our right to terminate pursuant to section 8 of that document. So this essentially is a consideration that the Shoreline Foundation is asking of the commission. I think candidly, your former manager was considering looking at this and approving it administratively, but we advised that because the commission had approved the license agreement back in 2008, and because it was signed by the mayor at the time, we recommended that this be placed on the agenda for your consideration.
Does anyone have any questions?
No.
No.
I will put that on consent for the 13th.
Thank you, Mayor.
September 13. And it's not even a Friday.
Requesting a 5-minute recess.
Okay.
5-minute recess.
Yeah. Do we have a survey? Are they encroaching on our property?
They're going to be in public.
Okay, meeting resumed at 7:28. Okay. Discussion 14.1, Commissioner Jacobs. So you have two items on the agenda, and I am going to allow Horowitz to.
Yeah, and I know Commissioner Jacobs has, placed these items on the agenda, and I know they've been on the agenda, I believe, previously in some form or fashion. I'm just going to make the same comment that I made last time these items were on the agenda. I know that with regards particularly to the Mr. Nunez situation, there are currently cases pending before the EEOC that are handled by our insurance defense counsel, Mr. Chris Stearns. And I would just caution the commission against any public discussion specifically regarding that matter so long as those cases are pending. Regarding the other incident referenced as Memorial Day incident, it's my understanding that there are internal investigations that are going on about that particular issue as well. I would just caution the commission, as I've done previously, against any public discussions regarding any matters that involve any active pending investigation, litigation, any other pending criminal matter that we may be aware of, or any other related investigation pending with, prior to discussing that matter publicly. So I would just offer that as a cautionary tale before the commission proceeds on these items.
Taken.
All right. Item number 1, I was told I had to load up everything through iCompass. I did not load this item up through iCompass. The only item I loaded up was item number 2 through iCompass, and there's no link to all the backup here on the agenda. Everything was marked private in there. Here's the thing, there's an email that was sent from the HR director saying that this investigation was complete, and that was back in June. So this happened on Memorial Day. I have 4 public records requests. I shouldn't have to make public records requests. I should just have to request documents. But I've gone to the point of making 4 public records requests which are not being responded to the point I've actually said that I'm going to go to the Broward courts to get a copy, or to force a copy through the Broward court system. I'm asking for simple items of a conference that was attended, the expenditures that went with it, and the GPS data that went along with the vehicle that attended that conference, and the return from the time the vehicle left the town and returned to the town. There's a great deal about this incident that doesn't add up, and I'm not going to go into detail on it. This is a public records issue at the moment until I have the public documents that go along with it. I've requested multiple times, and the town attorney has been CC'd on those.
And I would just offer, again, the information that Commissioner Jacobs requested without looking at the substance of the information all clearly sounds like it would be a public record. It would be something that any member of the commission or any member of the public would be and should be entitled to. I would just ask, the clerk and staff as the records custodian to review the requested documents. If there are any exemptions, they should be redacted. If anything from my office is needed to help review for any exemptions, I'm happy to assist. Clearly, these would be public records to the extent that they're not otherwise privileged. The town has an obligation to produce them, be it to the public or to any member of the commission. And if there's any way that my office can assist with that, I'm certainly happy to try.
Okay.
Thank you.
All these public records requests,
The public request, I think there's a ton of them going on lately, and I know that if that continues, that our clerks are not going to be able to handle it, and so we probably should look into having some help for doing the public records request, because if we need to hire a temp or something to help out Marlon and the crew to fulfill all these.
Yeah, and just for reference, state law does not dictate a specific time in which a public records request needs to be responded to. However, it does need to be responded to in a reasonable period of time. Again, I know that the town has staffing shortages and other challenges. I don't know what would be considered reasonable under those circumstances, but I would certainly encourage the town and your professional staff to respond to any public records request in a timely manner.
And just to be clear, I have records requests that have been outstanding for a year and a half that have yet to be fulfilled. I don't know what a reasonable amount of time is, but I don't think a year and a half is a reasonable amount of time.
Just wanted to,
How many public records requests do you have right now that you're trying to deal with?
we have multiple public records requests that come in on a daily. So we do have them. Those documents are all circulated through my department.
You have more than a dozen right now?
Oh, at least. From Commissioner Jacobs alone, more than a dozen. But what I wanted to mention to you is that our job is to provide the public records request and fill them as soon as possible. Most requests are filled immediately because they are simple requests that go through other departments. When they are extensive, then it requires, additional time. And all I ask is for your patience because we are fulfilling them as soon as possible. The requests that are extensive, again, they go through my department, but then it's up to the department to provide the information. Just recently, the Public Services Department was given a public records request that Commissioner Jacobs requested, and it's really extensive. I've provided as much information as I possibly have, but there requires a lot of work on that particular public records request. In addition to that, he's asked for all the emails that went back and forth from the Inspector General. I wanted to let you know that on July 13th, I received an inquiry by the Inspector General. It was a phone call where they asked me who was the attorney taking care of the investigation for Commissioner Jacobs. I went ahead and I stated who it was. That's when later on I went ahead and provided all the information that was attached to that investigation. In addition to that, based on what Commissioner Jacobs requested, it really was very insightful because in addition to all the emails where he states the town's clerk's office has failed to fulfill the request, my apologies.
No worries.
He is requesting from the HR department, I am writing to formally request copies of the time clock logs for all directors, department heads for the past 2 years. This is one of the ones that, of course, like I said, it comes through our department, but it requires the assistance of either the finance department or HR, so on and so forth. So I'm not able to obtain these as quickly as you would think. But again, my goal is to go ahead and provide the information as soon as possible. I had another one that I was looking for, which I had made, oh, here it is, where Commissioner Jacobs on August 6th, and all these requests he sent to the Inspector General, which is why I replied to all as well, and it states, I find it disturbing that the town clerk, who is included in the email chain, appears to be fully responsible and aware of these public records requests, yet refuses to provide necessary documentation. This is one having to do again with the Memorial Day 2023. Unfortunately, I do not have any of the information he requested, and therefore I have been unable to fill his request. I also sent him an email asking him to please let me know which public records request does he still have pending, because there was a time where he was requesting the credit cards for Mayor, yourself, Ms. Joseph, which is my predecessor, and Ms. Woodbury that works for the town currently. That took over 40 hours of employee time to go ahead and provide this information. Therefore, these are the things that will occur that will stop our staff that has a daily duties to stop what they're doing to be able to provide this information, which, as you're aware of, finance is one of the places which is most difficult to obtain information because they've had different systems. Now, that's not your fault or, anybody here or staff, by all means. I'm just explaining why certain things take additional time. And while I was at it, because this public records request, actually it's not a public records request, It is what Commissioner Jacobs felt he should send to the OIG. Did not CC me, did not CC anybody. And it states, I have raised significant concerns regarding the town clerk's adherence to her responsibilities, especially in light of an incident where I believe she falsified a vote during a commission meeting. My attempts to address this matter have been met with a noticeable change in her conduct towards me, potentially due to pursuit of charges against her. I must say that I've worked with each and any one of the commission at the present and in the past. I have and am willing to work with Commissioner Jacobs. It is at his request that I have kept things as professional as possible. Unfortunately, there is not one time that I provide him with an answer that he accepts the answer that has been given to him. And he continues to ask the same question over and over, expecting a different answer, which is impossible. Therefore, I would suggest that we provide all of the commissioners with all the emails that have been sent to the OIG, that have been provided already to Commissioner Jacobs, so you can all see what has transpired back and forth between the OIG and myself and Commissioner Jacobs. For your information, there is no emails to or from other department heads. The only emails that I received and have from the OIG from the time period that Commissioner Jacobs requested, having to do with his investigation, are all from Commissioner Jacobs and my response to the emails stating either that I acknowledged it, that I acknowledged receipt of his request, or received. So if you would like, I can go ahead and provide you with that information, and therefore you all have a better idea of what's transpiring between the OIG and our own town.
And just to be clear, that request was made on February 28th. There were 2 follow-up emails regarding the credit card statements, and that request has yet to be fulfilled.
I contacted the finance department before tonight's meeting, and I spoke with Christian, and as far as the finance department is aware of, they have been filled. If they have not, I would greatly appreciate for you to email me with all the details of the time period and what you are missing so we can provide it to you. But I have reached out to you on numerous occasions, and I have the emails to prove it, stating that that if there's any public records request, please let me know, because we have an elaborate amount of requests, and that requires a lot of staff time, and that requires for other departments to provide it. And as I stated, I ask for your patience, and I thank you for going ahead and providing me the specific documentation, because unfortunately, all I can do is submit it to the departments and have them send it back to me. And again, my job is to provide you with all public records requests, to fill them as soon as possible, but there is no time limit on when I have to provide it back to you, only because some of your requests are rather extensive, and to the point where maybe we don't even have that information. But I would appreciate if you could send me the requests that you have from last year that I have not fulfilled, and I am more than happy to go ahead and do my best to get it back to you as soon as possible.
Okay,
All right,
I'm going
I'll
to
just
stop.
add in
Hold
here.
on. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you for 1 second. It seems that there have been an abundance of requests, and I don't want the finance department to stop the audit, which is due because of the fact that our revenue share is tied to that. So if we need to hire additional staffing, but if that we do have to bring on additional staffing, that cost would have to be borne by someone to meet these requests. You know, unfortunately, our staff has a job responsibility, and they have to do their day-to-day operations, and public records requests might not necessarily be on the forefront when we're talking about our revenue share of $2.5 million from the state to balance our budget next year. So I think that we all need to be mindful of that. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's Attorney Horowitz. And also, if the documents don't exist, it's not our responsibility to create them.
Yeah, and if I could just add, Mayor, the legal answer to this question really is true irrespective as to who's making the request. Doesn't matter if it was coming from Commissioner Jacobs or a member of the commission or the public. Your staff is not required to drop everything they are doing and respond to a public records request. They are required to respond to public records requests in a reasonable period of time. I've seen reasonable be a matter of minutes. I've seen reasonable be many, many months. It all depends on the nature of the request. Your staff is also required to charge for responding to public records requests, and there's a specific process in Chapter 119 that allows that. Again, that is for excessive time, excessive IT time. So there's a mechanism, and I believe if the town does not have a public records policy, it certainly should.
Can we direct you to work on that?
But we certainly can.
Okay.
And that we would not have to reinvent the wheel there. I mean, those are
Yeah.
very common policies that many, if not most, municipalities have in place. So we can certainly help to put those pieces in place. But the ultimate answer to the question legally would be true irrespective of who's making the request. Your clerk is absolutely right. She has a reasonable period of time to respond to those requests. Commissioner Jacobs is also right. He is legally entitled to all of that information within a reasonable period of time. How you harmonize those two things and still ensure that the work of the town, the business of the town gets done, the town continues to operate, that is the balance and that is the challenge I think that your staff is having.
The issue I have with these public records requests is they seem to be retaliatory in nature in order to bury the town clerk with so many that she can't handle it and make her look inefficient. And that's what it looks like to me. That's my
I hear what you're saying, Commissioner. I would only ask really from a legal perspective, you can make a public records request for any reason or for no reason at all. There's absolutely no requirement that the person making the request justify their request, explain their reasoning for the request, or even identify themselves. Florida is a very open state in the context of transparency and the Sunshine Law, and this is a perfect example of that.
But you say we can invoice for excessive,
Chapter 119, which is the Florida Public Records Act, provides a mechanism to charge any person making a request reasonable and actual expenses associated with the time it takes to respond to those requests, particularly if they involve excessive IT time.
okay.
And again, we would memorialize that in the policy that the mayor just referenced, and with your collective permission, we will begin to work on that policy.
Yeah, my permission.
Oh, wait, thank you. Okay. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
As a commissioner, I shouldn't have to be making FOIA requests to get copies of documents. The simple documents I'm requesting on this one. Yeah, let me go back to this real quick. This Memorial Day incident, I concluded this email, and I'm going to remove the employee's name out of it, but this is all included in the backup that should be here for you guys to see. It says, this individual is or may be my neighbor. I fear retaliation for filing this formal complaint against her and expect this to be handled professionally, which it was not. And so I'm waiting for the public records that go along with this. And it should note that everything was uploaded into iCompass here, but it was approved, disapproved, it was disapproved, approved, finally said approved, but of course, none of the backup is visible for anybody to read. But this is all public record. This should be out here so people can see what's really going on around here. It's called transparency, and we have a big problem with that here in Pembroke Park when it comes to transparency.
Well, I'm going to just put this on the record because I know that we as commissioners don't have a direct responsibility for staff. We have a responsibility for our department heads. We do not have and I don't want to say an improper term to degrade, but lower level staff, and I apologize if it offends anyone, I just don't know what the proper terminology would be. We don't have any direct oversight. We don't have any direct anything as it pertains to that. We are responsible for those positions that are in our charter, And when it comes to the management and overseeing of that, that is the responsibility of the town administrator, interim town administrator. That is not a responsibility on us. We are not responsible for the day-to-day operations of staff here at City Hall. If it's an administrative issue, if it's an HR issue, again, our resolutions actually state we are not responsible for that. So if this item issue is something that pertains to that, that's something for the HR director and the city manager to deal with, and not for us as a commission to be hearing this item.
That's one area I do agree with you. Staff is handled under management. The directors, department heads are handled under the commission. That was the discussion I had with JC day one, and that's what we adhered to. This one took another turn. So it is important, these public records requests that I actually had to fill FOIA requests for to get copies of this stuff that I still have not obtained need to be provided. And I will resend that email out later this evening. So it's there for the 5th time.
Okay, Attorney, can you kind of oversee to make sure that the documentation that is being provided is not confidential or in nature?
I'm certainly happy to try,
Okay.
and I would ask, to the extent that as the clerk processes requests, if there's information that's ready to be released, we're happy to review anything to determine whether or not any exemptions or work product or privilege might apply.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We're going to go on, well, we kind of already had the discussion for 14.2, which is the building department audit. You guys know what the two items are that I'm looking for. One is the audit of the fees, and the other is the audit of the building department to make sure that it's operating at a revenue neutral operation.
Madam Mayor, Steve Pizzolo, interim building official, and the rest of the commission. If I could just put a couple of points on the thing as to the fees. You can compare yourselves to other cities, but it depends upon what level of service you want. If you want a concierge service, the fees are going to be 1 point. If you want the standard service, it's going to be another point. So before, and granted, fee schedules should be reviewed every 6 months to a year, just to see whether, as you said, building fees are a user fee. If you're making too much of a profit, you're putting it in your reserve account. You're supposed to slow down your fee schedule if you're making too much, or speed up your fee schedule if you're not making enough, so that you do have a reserve, because in case anything happens and all of a sudden you stop getting permit fees in, which has happened to some cities in Broward County in the last decade or so.
Every time there's a hurricane and you lose a city, yeah.
Well, just for example, when I showed up to become the building official in Parkland, the first thing the city manager did was give me a bill for $500,000 because the developer that was developing Parkland decided to declare bankruptcy, and all of a sudden they had all these houses that they needed to inspect and didn't have any fees coming in. So, there's a bunch of things that come into it. Yes, I do agree that the building fee schedule needs to be reviewed. I'll be happy to work with whoever you guys want to choose to do that. And, we do need to take a look at where the money is being spent, because it's very specific in Florida statutes as to what the money can be spent.
Okay.
Along with that, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
for 2 years, the police department's been asking for them to put assessment fees together for the police department that still have not happened. That was with the town manager.
Assessments on the building fees or assessments on what?
Assessment fees for the police department for new construction.
Impact fees?
Okay. Well, this is the first that we're all hearing.
And an impact fee would be
Or, I'm sorry, impact fee, not assessment fee.
at the discretion
Sorry.
of the city manager through the city commission. It's
Correct.
something that the building department would automatically do, but would collect.
So is that something you're looking at, like a user fee, a water and sewer impact fee, a police fee? Is that what you,
No, there was a one-time impact fee that the police chief had put forward to the town manager multiple times, and the town manager's never done anything with it. He asked him several times where that stood, where we were going, and the impact fees never came in. So that was for new construction in the town to help assist with, more police officers in the police department. That's what the impact fee was for. It's not a continuous fee.
That is a normal fee that is charged by many cities.
okay.
I'm aware of that. It was brought up for the last 2 years, but it's never been addressed.
Okay, I could look temporarily, while I'm in this seat, I could look into it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So wait. You're acting town manager now?
Yes. He was, because JC is not in.
JC is on he's no longer in the city, and I'm acting in his absence, yes.
Okay, how did this come about?
He was appointed by
He was
Jason.
appointed by JC. Whenever JC leaves the building, he leaves someone acting while he's not there. And currently, he has, I think, 2 weeks of vacation time. So he appointed someone in-house to be acting until we get an interim manager in.
All right.
Okay. 14.3, appointing a commissioner to the, I'm going to butcher this, so let me look at this paper and say it properly. Solid Waste Working Group. So Broward County has a working group to deal with the solid waste issues and trying to combat the problems in the near future since China stopped taking our trash. And so all of the counties have appointed a commissioner, a main commissioner and an alternate commissioner to the board. So we need to do the same as well for our city. So I know that Vice Mayor Morissette attended a meeting with the chair, Beamfer.
Yeah.
And so they have sent numerous requests to us for us to appoint a commissioner and an alternate. So I'd like to have that on the agenda for next week, appointing those two. I know that Eric has been going to these climate summit thingamabobbies, dealing with
Yeah, that's different
that
from
stuff.
waste, but
But
yeah.
I know you, but you like
Part of
that
it.
stuff.
It's part of it.
Yeah, you like that stuff.
I like dirt.
That's what I'm gonna say. So you're gonna be voluntold. No, if you guys could submit your names to the clerk for that, and we can do the appointment at the next meeting for September 13th. Okay. Town clerk, okay, so that's everything for the agenda items. We are now just going to be going through the wrap-up session. Town clerk comments? None?
I have nothing at the present time. Thank you.
Attorney comments?
I have nothing, Mayor. We will work on the items that were assigned this evening.
Okay. Nope.
None
Okay,
from the city managers.
okay. Commissioner Jacobs?
Nope.
Nope.
I have it one.
Okay.
I would like to schedule a meeting with all the commissioners to discuss putting together a master plan for the park.
Okay. So,
The park across the street.
I need a direction I need a direction with everybody to sit down and discuss what we can do for,
You want a separate workshop or?
yeah.
that's why we're gonna have a meeting for.
Okay. And I know you were asking for a shirt. I'm gonna butcher it.
It's a charrette. It's
Charrette.
actually called a charrette. And this is something I actually brought up to our lobbyists. Since we are going after a lot of these grants, and a lot of it is actually, for some of it in the parks, see what direction you want to take. It's similar to all a master plan. It's like a water master plan, sanitary master plan. You want to make a decision, and you don't want to decide something today. A year from now, you're going to change it. We want to have a 10-year plan, what you want to do to the park, what you want to start planning for, moving forward. If you make a decision now and all the commissioners have their say in it, what we can do is adopt a master plan for the park.
Okay.
That's the only idea that I brought forward. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so, can you get a schedule together with all parties relevant, to kind of get that going for us? Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
okay. I have no comments. Announcements, 19.1, first budget hearing, Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 at 6:00 PM. Regular commission meeting Wednesday, September 13th at 2023 at 7:00 PM. Special magistrate hearing Wednesday, September 30th at 9 AM. Second budget hearing is going to be Wednesday, September 27th at 6:00 PM. And the workshop is going to be September 27th?
30.
27th?
Yeah, at 7 o'clock.
Okay. No problem. I was like, wait. Okay. And then,
Excuse me for asking, but how can we have first budget hearing?
listen to what I said, not what you read.
Oh, okay, so, okay. Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor.
Okay, and then the calendar of events, we are looking to schedule a food giveaway in September. In October, we will be having the Fall Festival around the 28th or 29th. The health fair is tentatively set for November 4th. The food giveaway is set for, the Thanksgiving turkey giveaway is set for November 20th, and the toy giveaway is set for December 16th. With that, I want to thank everyone for their participation. And the back-to-school giveaway, it was a great success. We were able to give out a lot of book bags. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry.
Comment on the agenda, just for the record.
Uh-huh.
Your agenda references the first budget hearing on September 13th and the first budget hearing on September 27th.
That's what I said. Let's do what I say, not what you read.
Let's just be clear that it's the second public hearing on the 27th.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. That's okay. Motion to adjourn?
All righty.
We just like having those budget hearings. They just fun.
I know, exactly. Motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, yes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Aye, aye, aye.
I know, they're already saying aye in the audience, like, okay, come on, let's get out of here.